Everyone was positive around me. I really wanted to be like any other ordinary kid. They called my mom and they were like, okay, you need to come. We've admitted her in hospital. I'm a fashion designer. I am a singer. I am a writer. I act. I teach drama in church. My mom says I was diagnosed around 6 months. I think I got a crisis and then, they ended up running to hospital and then that's how they found out. But myself, when I became aware was when I was in primary school. Growing up, it was very difficult because you wouldn't really know where your limits are. You only come to realize later in life that, oh, if I take it this far, there are consequences. But I really wanted to be like any other ordinary kid. So when the kids were playing outside, I was always running outside with them. But my mom would always be like, you're not supposed to do that, come back. But she wasn't really explaining why. But as you grow up, you realize, okay, these are my limits. If I go beyond this point, I'll be unwell in the evening. High school was very difficult. I myself, I did my exams in a hospital because it's stressful. You can imagine you wake up in the morning, you run for the school bus by 6, you get to class by 7, you're in class the whole day until 4, then you get the bus again, get home at 6, do your homework, and then resting time is very minimal. So eventually you do get unwell and you end up in the hospital. The challenge as an adult right now, like for example, when the youth go for a hike, so it's kind of a bit of a challenge to say no to it, but if you go ahead and have that fun, you will always have like a crisis later, so you avoid as much as possible to do those things. And even that one time we did take a church trip and no one had actually known that I had sickle cell. We went to Eldoret and no one had told me about Eldoret. Eldoret has a high altitude. So automatically, like we went on a Friday, the next day was a Saturday, I fell sick and I felt it was the worst crisis bed I've ever had. And that's now how the youth in church knew, oh, this lady has sickle cell. I hadn't told anyone by there up to that point. And even how they reacted to it was really positive. They called my mom and they were like, okay, you need to come. We've admitted her in hospital, but the rest of them had to come to Nairobi. And I had to remain in Eldoret. So one of them stayed behind to just make sure I was okay. Then, after my mom came, they swapped. So when I came back to Nairobi, at least I got messages of encouragement and people were like, yeah, we do care about you. You need to take care of yourself. So there was no stigma. To be honest, no one can relate. So I can't really say I have someone I can run to and speak about the stuff I go through. However, it was a relief to find there's a community of guys who have sickle cell anemia. So it was a bit easier to get advice from them than from the other normal people, yeah. Medicine in general is unaffordable for most people. In specific chemists, yes, you can get the hydroxyurea we are supposed to be on. The folic acid you can get in any chemist over the counter. But the pain medicines, some that are supposed to be a bit more stronger than the ordinary medicines, those ones are a bit of a challenge to get, and it's understandable why, because some of them are a bit addictive.
So far in our facility, through the Children's Sickle Cell Foundation and Novartis, we are able to procure an HB electrophoresis machine, which initially was not there, very core in diagnosis and also on the follow-up. We have also managed to get the biochemistry machine, which is helping us in we are able to diagnose this patient who are able to have complications maybe in future.
I would say it is still a bit of a challenge to afford some of these medicines, and it is also a bit of a challenge to access medical drugs that can help us when we're in a crisis, because it's not all the time you would be at the emergency room for a crisis. I think everyone at some point thinks about starting a family. In the groups and the forums we're in, we do talk about that a lot. And they do insist that if you ever get someone you want to settle down with, the first thing you need to do is go do the genetic test to see if they're a carrier or if they have the strain somewhere.